Now let's solve the Leetcode weekly contest for 18 in second problem. So first element with unique frequency. You are given an integer array nums. Return the integer denoting first element. Scanning from left to right in the nums whose frequency is unique. That is, no other integer appears the same number of times in nums. There is no such element. Return -1. So if you take first test case, we have 20, 10, 30, and 30. So frequency of 20 is once 1. Frequency of 10 is 1. Frequency of 30 is twice. So in this frequency also we should take whichever occurs the unique for the first time. So the frequency of 30 is unique because no other integer appears exactly twice. To take the second test case, we have 20 appears twice, 10 appears 1, and 30 appears 3 times. So all three are unique. But what they're asking to get the first element whose frequency is unique. So we have to, so for this, right, for the 20 appears once, and the frequency of 30 is unique because no other integer appears exactly twice. So for this is for first test case. For second test case, you see all three are unique. Everyone is having unique. So everyone is unique. We have to return the first element. So we are returning the first element that has unique frequency. Now if we go to third test case, we don't have unique frequency at all because 10 appears 2 times and 20 appears 2 times. So no element has a unique frequency. So they have clearly explained the test case, but how we can do? So we can use map. What map will do? Map will store the frequencies of all these elements. Then in that frequencies also we need which frequency occurs unique. For that we need again one map which stores the frequencies. So first map will we will use two maps. We will use those two maps. Two maps. What map one will store? Map one will store frequency of each element in array. So what map 2 will store? Map 2 will store the frequency of each frequency. So map 2 will store frequency of frequencies. So count of each frequency. Let's say count of each frequency. Now after that we have to iterate through the array. So if we iterate through array, then we will get whose frequency count is 1. So after that we have to iterate through array. Iterate through array. So iterate through array, then get whose frequency count is 1, exactly 1. Get the element whose frequency count is 1. So if you take, so let's try run the solution. Let's take test case 1. Let me take the test case. So let me copy it. So there is map 1. Map 1, what the maximum values will be there? 20 is 1. 10 is occurs 1 time. Then 30 occurs 2 times. So this is the map 1 will be stored. Now in this map 1 values we have to, this is the frequencies 1, 1, 2. These values again we have to store count of each frequency. So map 2 will store count of each frequency. Count of each frequency. Count of each frequency. So map 2 will store. How the map 2 will look? Map 2 will look like 1 will occur 2 times. 2 will occur one time. So this is the map 2. Now step 3, what we will do? Step 3, iterate the array. So first element, what is the first element we have? First element is 1. Get the frequency. Get the first element frequency. This frequency is 1. We got the first element frequency 1. Now check this frequency in this. What is 1 occurs 2 times, right? So this won't be our answer. So it is 2. Check the frequency of this element. If one's count is, check one's count is equal to 1, but we don't have one's count equal to 1. So we'll go to next element, like go to 10. Get the frequency. Get the frequency of 10. What is the frequency of 10? Frequency of 10 is also 1. Check, do the same step. Check once if it's one's count is equal to 1. No. Now get the frequency of 30. Frequency of 30 is 2. Check 2 occurs only one time. Check 2's frequency is 2's count is, you can take 2's count is equal to 1. So if you see 2's count is equal to 1, so we will return 30. So 30's frequency is 2, but this 2's count is 1. This is the first element. Now let me take the second test case. Let's take screenshot. Copy it. Uh, Let me copy the second test case here. This is the second test case. Okay. Now first map, what we will store? First map we have to store 20 count is 2. This is the map 1. Let me delete this. Map 1. Map 1, what we will store? 20. 20 is occurring 2 times, right? So 22. 10 is occurring 1 time. 30 is occurring 30 is occurring 3 times. So we got these counts. Now in map 2, what we will store? We have to store these counts. So 2 is occurring 1 time. 1 is also occurring. 1 is also occurring 1 time. 3 is also occurring 1 time. So this is the count of each frequency. Now we will go to the array. So first we will get the 20. Check what is the 20's frequency. 20's frequency is 2. What is the count of this frequency? This count of should be equal to 1. So this frequency count is 1, right? So we will return this element, return 20. So 20's frequency is 2, but frequency of count, that count should be equal to 1. So it is equal to 1. So 20 is the valid answer. So 30 also can be the answer, but what they are asking? They're asking to return first element. So we should make sure we return the 20. Now let's code the solution. First step is to create the map to store count of each element. Integer frequency map is equals to new hash map. So this will store count of each element in the array. So for int num, so this is for each loop we are using. So now frequency map we have to put frequency map dot put num comma frequency map dot get or default So we'll get the frequency of each element. Once we got the frequency of each element, those frequency count we have to store in another map. So let's create one map, another map, integer, integer frequency count is equals to new hash map. Now we got the frequency count. Frequency count map we have created. Now from where we will get frequency count from this map, right? So we have to iterate to that map. So int frequency, int let's take count. We are getting count, right? Now frequency, from frequency map we have to count of, we have to count dot values. There is the values, right? So we got the values is the count, right? So we need to count that. So we will put in a frequency count dot put count frequency count dot get our default of count 0 plus 1. So it will store the count of count, like frequency count it will store. Now what we have to do, we need to iterate the array and check if the frequency count is unique. So it should occur only one time. For any element, that frequency should occur only one time. So we'll iterate through array int nums. Now what we have to do, first we have to get the frequency of each element. Let's get the frequency. Frequency is equals to, where we can get the frequency, we will get the frequency from frequency map. Frequency map dot get of num. Oh. Now we got the frequency from the frequency map. Now this frequency should occur only one time. So check if it's equal to 1. If frequency count, so count dot get frequency is equal to 1, then we will return that element. So if this frequency occurs unique, then we have to return that element. So if no element occurs single time whose frequency is unique, then we will return -1. So let's submit it. Let's run first. Let's see if we've done any syntax mistakes. Something we have done wrong. It's returning return -1, right? We have returning 1. So we have to return -1. So that's why we got it wrong. Now all the 3 test cases are getting passed. For first test case, so for first test case, we got 30 because 30 occurs only 2 times. So the 30's frequency is 2, which is unique. For second test case, all the frequencies are unique. But if all those frequencies are unique, we need to return the first element whose frequency is unique. So we are returning 20. Now if you go to third test case, 10 occurs 2 times, 20 occurs 2 times. So we don't have whose frequency occurs, we don't have element whose frequency is unique. So we will return -1. So let me submit the problem. So it got accepted. So what is the time complexity? Time complexity is O of n. So space complexity will be O of n, since we will store n elements. Let's see what is the time complexity. I think here reached off limits. Okay, no problem. Since we have n elements right in the array, right? So we are writing it into n elements. So at max, the time complexity will be O of n. Since we are using map, so map will store the values. So space complexity will be also O of n. O of n. So that's all about this video.